Florida is one of the saltwater angling capitals of the world. From chasing muscular tarpon to landing sought-after reef fish like grouper and red drum, anglers flock to Florida for an unrivaled fishing experience. As late summer gives way to early fall, red tide often begins to affect Florida's coasts. The marine ecosystem is particularly vulnerable to brevetoxins, and one of the most striking outcomes are fish kills regardless of size or species. In our first video, red tide was explained in a general overview. In this video, we'll go more in depth about what you need to know about red tide and seafood safety in Florida. Brevetoxins are the toxins produced by Karenia brevis, the red tide organism. Marine life can be poisoned by swimming in water with red tide or by eating fish or shellfish containing brevetoxins, eventually killing the animal. These toxins can build up through the food chain by larger fish eating smaller fish. When animals are exposed to red tide toxins, they can develop neurological damage or die within hours to days of swimming in a red tide bloom or feeding on prey that contains toxins. Can I eat my catch? Molluscan shellfish such as clams, oysters, whelk, and conch usually don't die from red tide, but become very toxic to humans and animals that eat them. Toxins can persist in shellfish even after a red tide bloom has ceased. Shellfish harvesting is closely regulated and monitored by the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. If a shellfish harvest area is affected by red tide in Florida, it will be closed. Never harvest shellfish from closed areas or if you're unsure. Shellfish affected by red tide appear normal, so there is no safe way of visually identifying if shellfish are safe to eat or not. Eating molluscan shellfish contaminated with brevetoxins can cause neurotoxic shellfish poisoning, or NSP. Symptoms of NSP may include nausea, diarrhea, vertigo, hot-cold sensation reversal, tingling or feelings of pins and needles, or numbing of limbs. Finfish, like snook, snapper, and red drum, process the toxins from red tide differently. So healthy-looking fish may be eaten if the inner organs and guts are discarded and the fillets thoroughly cleaned under fresh water. If the fish appears disoriented or unhealthy for any reason, discard and do not eat. Shrimp and crabs are also safe to eat during red tide events as long as the tamale is discarded. Cooking, freezing, or rinsing seafood with affected parts in water is not effective in removing red tide toxins. Remember, the toxins in seafood cannot be seen, smelled, or tasted. Although you may harvest healthy finfish from areas affected by red tide, remember that red tide can still cause respiratory distress, itchy skin, coughing, or other symptoms if you are fishing in an area containing a bloom. Can I order seafood from a restaurant? Yes, if you order seafood from a Florida restaurant during red tide, you have nothing to worry about. Store-bought and restaurant-served fish and shellfish are safe to eat during a bloom because they're monitored by the government for safety. If commercially available seafood is harvested locally, it is tested for red tide toxins before it is sold. I think I ate tainted seafood. What should I do? If you believe you ate shellfish or seafood that may contain toxins from red tide, don't panic. Calmly call your primary care doctor and inform them of the situation. You can also call a Florida Poison Control Center at 1-800-222-1222. Red tide blooms can be stressful and potentially dangerous to humans, our ecosystems, and wildlife. But armed with the knowledge you've learned in these short videos, you and your family should still be able to safely enjoy fishing, boating, and explore the natural beauty of Florida.